Friday's episode quietly exposes how fear and restraint are shaping nearly every relationship, even in moments that seem small or routine. What looks like an ordinary pizza delivery becomes a reminder that Sheila Carter's shadow still dominates Finn's life. Deacon Sharp's decision not to deliver the pizza himself is deliberate. He knows that Sheila's presence is a constant source of anxiety for Finn and Steffi, and by removing himself from the situation, he avoids escalating an already fragile dynamic. Still, this choice forces Finn into a position he dreads, making him responsible for confronting the possibility of running into Sheila. Finn's fear is not exaggerated or irrational. It is rooted in years of trauma, manipulation, and violence connected to Sheila. Even when she is not actively causing trouble, her proximity is enough to unsettle him. Finn's anxiety reflects how deeply her past actions have scarred him. He is constantly calculating how to protect his family, especially Steffi and their children, from even the smallest chance of Sheila inserting herself back into their lives. This lingering fear reinforces why Finn struggles to maintain boundaries with his biological mother and why Steffi remains vigilant and uncompromising when it comes to Sheila. Sheila, meanwhile, remains unaware, or possibly willfully ignorant, of how frightening she still is to Finn. Her belief that she has changed contrasts sharply with Finn's reality. This disconnect creates an ongoing tension that threatens to explode if Sheila pushes too hard for connection or validation. Finn's attempt to avoid her during something as simple as a pizza run shows that the danger isn't always physical. It's emotional and psychological, and it never truly goes away. On the emotional front, Electra's decision to talk to Dylan marks a pivotal moment of vulnerability. Electra senses the growing closeness between Dylan and Will and recognizes the potential for emotional boundaries to blur. Instead of letting resentment or jealousy build, she chooses honesty. This conversation is less about confrontation and more about protecting herself from future hurt. Electra needs reassurance that her feelings matter and that she won't be pushed aside or disrespected. Dylan's response is calm, deliberate, and surprisingly serious. She makes a solemn vow to respect Electra's boundaries, promising not to interfere or overstep. This is significant because Dylan has recently benefited greatly from Will's generosity, including a new job and a place to live. Her gratitude toward Will has already begun to take on an intense, almost dependent tone. By vowing to respect Electra, Dylan is attempting to assert control over her emotions and prove she isn't becoming someone who crosses lines for personal security or affection. However, this promise carries an underlying tension. In soap storytelling, vows made under emotional pressure often foreshadow future tests of character. Dylan may genuinely want to do the right thing, but gratitude can morph into attachment, and attachment can become temptation. If Dylan later finds herself feeling threatened, insecure, or afraid of losing stability, respecting boundaries may become far more difficult than she expects. Electra's trust in Dylan adds another layer of risk. By accepting Dylan's promise, Electra lowers her guard. If that trust is broken, the emotional fallout will be far more damaging than open rivalry ever could be. It would turn a moment of maturity into the foundation for betrayal. Taken together, Friday's episode is about quiet choices that carry heavy consequences. Finn's fear shows how unresolved trauma continues to dictate everyday behavior, even in seemingly harmless situations. Dylan's vow introduces a fragile sense of order that could collapse under emotional strain. Both storylines emphasize the same theme. Characters are trying to keep chaos at bay, but the forces threatening their peace are still very much alive and waiting for the right moment to strike.